Hey, Sooner fans, welcome back. We are less than 2 weeks away from having football in Oklahoma. Uh, Today, we're going to bring on Charlie from the Football Brainiacs, talk a little fall camp and season predictions. Up next.
That's my standard. That's my standard. My champion standard. Champion standard. Pull away the answers. Yeah, the answers. The champion standard. Champion standard. Yeah.
Yeah, man, 13 days. Can't wait. Yeah. I can't hear you, Rob, by the way.
There
Lost
we
your
go.
audio there.
Sorry.
There you go. No problem.
We'll say
I didn't want you
wow.
to be mute this whole. I didn't want you to be mute the whole show. I tried to cut you
Yeah.
off enough without you doing that. Hey, no sense in wasting any time. It looks like we got Charlie waiting in the off stage there. You want to go ahead and bring him in, Rob?
Yeah.
Hey, Charlie.
What's going on, man?
Hey guys, what's happening? How are we?
Doing great, man. Just
Good.
can't wait for these next 2 weeks to fly by.
Yeah, I can't believe we're here. This is, I mean, this is the last weekend without college football. It's unbelievable.
I know.
We made
Yeah.
it. We're almost there. Just
It's kind of funny when
little bit more.
Ryan starts doing the 100-day countdowns on the board on TFB. He, he's like, I got to do all 100 days. I can't believe it. And now it's like, yeah, I mean, it's here. This is great.
Right.
So I'm excited.
Hey, I'm gonna turn my air down. I just realized it's kind of hot in my office, so give me just like 10 seconds, fellas.
Man's got to do what a man's got to do.
Yeah, he's got to do it, man. It's getting hot. We just had a thunderstorm roll in, so kind of cooled off things over here down south where I am.
Oh, that's nice. Mid-Atlantic here is still very hot and muggy, but it should be cooling off.
Yeah, that first game's going to be a scorcher, like it always is.
Yeah. That's got to be unbearable for some folks sitting in the stands.
Oh yeah, it's ridiculous. I know they have heat exhaustion. People passing out left and right. Usually those first couple of home games. So even if they do schedule them at 6-7 o'clock, it's still hot as heck. But yeah. So they had their last kind of scrimmage yesterday, right? So no more beating the crap out of everybody in some scrimmage.
Yeah, I want to talk about that a little bit. Okay. I saw a lot of improvement from Brent on personnel management through this camp. There was talk about him going to a mini camp model and all that stuff, and the bigger thing was giving the guys who said they had something wrong with them or felt something, give them the day off, especially the vets, the guys who are established and stuff. I was very impressed with that. And, OU got through camp incredibly well health-wise. That's you don't, there were no major injuries in camp. All the major injuries happened before camp or whatever. Right. The ones that are keeping like Halton and Bowen, and I think that's really about it. Right. The Gibsons. But yeah. So I tip of my cap to Brent and the staff for how they ran camp this year for sure. I'm very encouraged by that.
Yeah. It sounds like just a bunch of dings and the normal kind of just guys getting beat up a little bit here and there and just having to take rest days, like you said. So hopefully that's, and what, 2-3 guys are in concussion protocol, and we know how that is even during the season. There's a timeline on that where you can't come back no matter what. You have to pass all the series of tests and all that good stuff. But
yeah, and a guy like Derek Simmons, who apparently, I didn't know this until James pointed out to me last week, apparently he has a history with some concussion, so they kept him out longer, and that's because he's a vet and he knows what he's doing, and he'll be there for the next 2 weeks and get his game prep in, and we'll see what shakes out, if he's starting or if Logan's starting or whoever. But I really like the approach. I think it's a really sound approach. Even with, Grayson Halton, I've been told he could go if it was Michigan today. And gotcha. He hasn't taken a snap of live reps yet. So
right.
I'm impressed with that.
So we, kind of touched on a couple of offensive linemen. I kind of want to talk about that group a little bit. I
Yeah.
feel like it's evolved a little bit here in camp, and some of the young guys are kind of elbowing their way into that starting lineup, to say the least. I know you've reported on it personally, and Rob and I are hearing the same kind of stuff. So, are you think we're going to have a couple of freshmen there on that, or maybe one for that opener?
I want to think, yeah.
Yeah.
I want to think. I just have a hard time squaring that up. But let me just say, I think first of all, it's a great sign that you have true competition. That you have a Fasusi and a Sexton battling at left tackle, and you have a Logan Howland who ostensibly will be challenging Derek Simmons when he comes back. Now, should they get the start? I think so, because they were there during the most physical, the hardest 2 weeks of camp. That's who your tackles were. Do I think it's going to happen? I don't know. I would like to think it's going to happen. I would like to think it's a reward. I don't know if you guys remember back in, I think it was 2020, the COVID year, when Anton Harrison was named starter.
Yep.
As a true freshman, but he never started until like game 6 or 7. And that's because he had to go through COVID protocol and all this other stuff. But at least he was named starter. I don't know if, Sexton or Simmons or Fasusi or Howland will be named the starter. But I think Fasusi and Howland certainly deserve the nod from me, and I'm nobody. So, but as a coach of high school baseball and growing up, I would probably start them. But again, it's a name thing right now. I think all 4 tackles will play, and all 4 tackles will play a lot. And then you're going to base, the real starters for me will be who runs out there for Michigan. Because Illinois State, I mean, the 3 of us could line up out there and have some kind of success. Maybe.
I don't know about me, but probably not.
Yeah, no, I'm third on our depth chart for sure. Okay, I'm third, and I'm emergency only. Okay, that's only if you two go down first.
Right. But do I think they'll get the start? I'll go on record and say I think Michael Fasusi and Logan Howland get the start, just in name.
No,
I'll say that, and that might be me wish casting.
Right.
I've been leaning that direction here ever since Howland was moved to the right side. I don't think he's going to move away from it. I think they're going to. I mean, my gut feeling tells me Howland is now your starting right tackle, and then you've got your left side with Sexton and Fasusi. With Michael Fasusi, you only get 3 years with him. He's not redshirting. He's going to be playing the whole season. He might not run out there with the ones Illinois State, but really when it comes down to that 4th game of the year, where if he's redshirt or after his redshirt, if he's not going to, he's going to end up playing. So he's going to be there the whole entire year. You might as well get the most out of him. He's your future. Let him make the mistakes on the field. Let him get better each week. And Sexton then can move to left guard where he played last year, and he can push competition with Ozida and EPL. And then whoever loses out of those 3 gets pushed to right guard to start pushing Wee-Woo. You just keep going down the line because that's the kind of depth that you have. But yeah, I think Fasusi and Howland are your bookend tackles for the next 3 years.
Yeah, I think next year, I think that's your tackles. You're right. And so I think the thing I'm missing out on, and a lot of people are missing out on, is we haven't seen Jacob Sexton healthy in 2 years. And when we did see him 2.5 years ago or whatever, he was really building into a very good tackle. I don't want to slight Jacob Sexton because I really had a problem with the way he was handled last year. But not a problem. I felt bad for him, I guess is what I would say, is because, okay, you're going to be left tackle. You're going to settle in there. Nope, you're going to be left guard. We need you there. We're going to practice you right tackle. He never got a chance to sit in, and he was hurt. I mean, he was dinged up, and then he really got hurt. Derek Simmons is a very good offensive lineman, very good. Can you, keep him engaged if he's not starting at right tackle? I don't know. And that's just me spitballing as
That's good. Yeah.
a person who's dealt with athletes on a minor level. I'm not beating my chest here, but the mental aspect comes into it.
Yeah.
Logan Howland knows has the inside track to be the starting right tackle next year. I don't know what the dynamics play out or how they play out, but I go back to, I believe those guys earned the honor of starting game one, snap one. And then, we all know the competition is going to play out from there. Because if they're not doing their job, they're going to get replaced. And that's the way it goes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do feel like we've kind of crossed over a line, and, as far as depth's concerned on many spots in the roster, not just offensive line, where we were just looking for starters. We were just looking for guys. And now we have this too deep amongst many positions, if not all. I know there's a couple that are question marks, but offensive line for sure. We just got 10 guys there that can give us some, quality time, which, like we said, we haven't said that in a long time. And so that just gives me great comfort. I don't know about y'all going into this season.
Yeah. I mean, you went from Isaiah Audrey-Dent being one injury away from being a starter last year at the end of the year.
Yep.
And right now he's not even on a depth chart. And he's going to be good. That's where you're at. He's a high-end athlete. He's great size. He's a sponge. He learns everything. He's going to be a good lineman. But right now he's not even mentioned.
Yeah.
So
I don't hear Dent's name. I don't hear Akinkumi. There's just guys I haven't even heard of. And it's just because we have, these 10 guys that have been, coming on. And I'm thoroughly impressed. And you can't have enough offensive line bodies to give Beatonbow a lot of tools and Swiss Army knives to play with,
Well, that's another thing. If we're talking about, we'll leave the offensive line wherever you guys want to go. But if you're talking about a Derek Simmons, right? The guy's played left tackle. He's played right tackle. He's played both guard spots. And
exactly.
He was one of the top 3-4 most coveted offensive linemen in the portal. So now you have him. And if Logan Howland takes right, like Rob was saying, you go to the, any other position.
Yeah.
And he could fill in admirably. So it's a good problem to have, especially on the offensive line. And I look at both sides of the ball, and they have a true 2 and sometimes 3D.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah. No, it's awesome. Did you catch wind of the RMT Fasusi mix up in practice? Mix up, or you haven't caught wind of that, Rob? We'll kind of. So yeah, I heard RMT and Fasusi got into, I don't know if I want to use the word altercation because that's but semi altercation, sure. Helmet came off kind of thing. I think Fasusi's helmet came off and he got in RMT's face and did the old no helmet headbutt, into RMT, which we've seen guys do that before. And we're like, what are you doing there? You don't have a helmet on. Yeah. No, but I think RMT's got a history of, laying some wood on people in practice. And I think he did it to Sexton. Rob, that's what you kind of caught wind of as well, which potentially is what knocked him out a little bit. I don't know if knocked out like word for word knocked out, but just, kept him out of practice for a while. So I like a freshman that comes in and has no fear and is like getting in upperclassmen's face. That goes
I'm okay with that.
In my book. Yeah.
Yeah. Sure.
I mean, Josh Bates was that kind of guy too. And, I hope he has a great career at SMU, but I think Michael Fasusi would probably have a better chance of backing up his, his little foray into the, mortal or the hand-to-hand combat. And that's, I had not heard that, but I'm okay with that.
Yeah. So we can go on to some other position groups, but before I forget, recruiting wise, I know we got, Tank Carrington, I guess, committed yesterday afternoon. I saw your post come out on that. Kind of filled a void there. We missed out on Golden, and then there was someone else we missed out on, several months ago. I can't remember who it was.
Tavion Branch.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So that kind of filled that, interior defensive. And I know he's undersized and has a lot of weight to put on to play in the interior, but so you can talk about him a little bit, but I was going to ask you, I know you've listed a few positions of need. I always keep circling back around to like wide receiver and linebacker as far as like trying to fill this. Would you say those are the two?
Yeah, they're up there. And yeah, I mean, I don't understand linebacking recruiting in Brent Venables' tenure.
It doesn't make sense.
Well, I do and I don't. And I can tell you why it hasn't happened and why, because you've had 3 different linebacker coaches and relationships still do matter. But I mean, what linebacker could sit there and say, yeah, I don't want to go play for Brent Venables? I don't know. I guess it's got to be the relationship, but you don't know who's going to coach you full time. And, hopefully now with Dreiling, you know who's going to be coaching you.
Right.
So yeah, that'd be a top priority. Wide receiver. I mean, so many swings and misses this cycle, and that's, you can pick up wide receivers in the portal, and they're only losing what, Lewis and Burks?
3 total, I think, and 1 may not even be Burks and Lewis. Is that what you said?
Yeah, I think so.
That sounds right. Yeah.
So, you get Odom and you pick up another one, and but the swings and misses, that's disconcerting. And again, you can see why. You look at last year's wide receiver room. You look at the injuries. You look at the lack of development that was tangible. And believe me, we all know the offensive line and the quarterbacking did them no favors. We all agree with that. But that's not what, Texas and Texas A&M and, all these other teams are recruiting against OU with. They're saying, look what happened. Look what happened to their, to their health. Look what happened to their development. They have no skins on the wall since Marvin Mims left. That's kind of where they're at right now. And that's kind of disappointing in regard of developing a guy. And I think you're going to see a guy this year. And I don't think he's going to be stopped, and that'll help in Elijah Thomas. Just the amount of talk on him is, I haven't heard it like this since CD, and that's including Marvin. That's including Marvin Mims. Wow. Everybody wants to talk about him. Everybody's, and he shows out every time people see him. So we'll see how that goes. But I mean, you're going to have you keep waiting for that. I think Brent said it the other day. I don't know if he was talking about Elijah or Torrey Blaylock. But you keep waiting for these freshmen to hit the wall. And neither one of those two did in fall camp. And usually there's, like Taylor Wines started out really hot, the big name on fall camp. They're still talking about him, and he's still, doing really well. But it's not the everyday wow play. With Elijah Thomas, it's every day. Anytime I talk to a source, anytime James talks to a source, anytime Kay talks to a source, they want to talk about Elijah Thomas. And that's that's impressive buzz. So hopefully that'll help. And hopefully they'll be in position to, as Nagy said the other day on Twitter, something like, as soon as these kids see, what Arbuckle's going to do, they'll be begging to come. So hopefully that's the case. But then you got to address offensive line. You only have 2, and you need 2 more. And you could get a project and a solid guy, or however you want to go about it. You got 2 good ones, 2 very good ones right now. But you got to populate that room. And I think, again, there might be some waiting until the season goes before they really start pushing to flip some other kids. So, and then lastly, defensive tackle, you got to finish up. You got to hope you can get T-Ron Richardson on the 26th. They're in as good a spot as you can be. When the kid comes out and says, the NIL is getting real now, I don't know if they're going to land him. I don't know how far they'll go for him. So you're hoping that the relationships with Bates and, you know, a good NIL wins him.
Yeah,
If not, you hope the season they show out and you go flip Tavion Branch or somebody like that. So,
Right.
And then the last one is safety.
Mm.
You know, you have Nico Jandro, but I'm a little surprised they don't have somebody else back there. And I know they got a lot of young talent and all that.
We're losing both Bowen and RSJ. Are those are the only two, right, from the safety?
Well, you're
room?
losing RSJ. Bowen has another year out.
Oh yeah, that's right. Sorry,
Yeah,
he does.
That's okay. Yeah, he has
Well,
one more year.
he could have a great year and get a good grade, and you know, not many players in college football stay for 4 full seasons.
Yeah,
It's a lot of college ball. If he puts out good tape this year, he gets a good grade, he could jump.
it'll be interesting to see.
He's got the talent. So
yes, he does, and people are saying he's putting it all together and he's playing really well. It'll be interesting to see his relationship, how he viewed what Billy Bowman did. I think Billy left some money on the table by coming back. You know, Billy might have a better career for it in the NFL, which I hope he does. But, you know, he had that monster year, and then last year wasn't a monster year. So, he might have left a little money on the table. If Peyton goes out and has a, monster year, maybe that he takes that into account. But hopefully not. Hopefully, he needs more, obviously more film. He's been injured for 2 years.
Right.
So
right.
It's kind of like Gentry. You know, if Gentry goes out and has a monster year, could he go? Yeah. Would I tell him to go? Yeah. But could he get a higher grade if he stayed and had 2 monster years? Yeah. Because people will still have questions about Gentry at the end of the year, even if he stays healthy. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
Yeah. Speaking of that corner room, I know Rob and I, we were pretty concerned about that just with Eli out. Gentry's had the shoulder issues. Dolby's coming back from injury. Are other than what I just named, do you feel decent about that room with Cortland coming on and Jordan and Newcomb, the young guys? It sounds like a couple of them have been flashing pretty good, but
I think this is the most talented cornerback room at OU on paper since I've been at TFB, and that's been 9 years. I mean, if you just go down the depth chart, all these guys are plus athletes. They're all fast, long, rangy, except for one of the starters, one of the projected starters, and Eli Bowen. He's the one you're pointing to, going, but he's an freshman All-American.
Right.
The talent is not a question. And I think the three of us have discussed the lack of a solid zone coverage, and that could be, helped by the front this year. But the talent is not. Jay has stacked that room with talent. Those guys are all good. Am I comfortable with them? Yeah, everyone. I'm more comfortable with every one of them than I was with Des Malone and Connie Walker. Put it that way. I'd rather have those guys than those guys coming back.
Yep. Agreed.
I don't know what the answer is about the zone. I don't. I'm not that smart.
Yeah, Rob's dived into that quite a bit.
Yeah.
And talked about that. So I'm not the X's and go guys. I leave that to him, and others.
Yeah.
It does sound like Corton's got a little bit of dog in him though. In practice, which, that's something we definitely haven't seen at the corner position. We've had some good cover guys, but no one that's just coming up there, talking to the receivers. Just, there's no receivers that have ever feared our DBs in recent memory. Put it that way.
Yeah. Since I've been covering the team, there hasn't been. I mean, you can go through it all. I think Jaden Daniels' freshman year was probably the best I've seen, aside from Eli's freshman year. Seen a OU cornerback play consistent. other than that, I mean, I don't know the answer, but I know this talent and it's real. So I'm hoping, they figure out the zone at least, because these guys can cover man on man.
Right.
And I think they'll come out and tell you that. I think Cortland actually did.
Yeah, so I think that's real. I mean, I don't think it's necessarily. I think the tendency of us going into our pure drop back true zone last year was abnormally high. I mean, if we broke it down, they were nearly 40%, 45% of the time. True zone, actually more like 55% of the time. I had a whole use SIS data and looked at it. Only us, Kentucky, and Vanderbilt were in the top 3 of running true drop back zone. I thought I kind of took, if you looking at the film, I took away that we just didn't really had confidence in the corners on the outside to actually run man coverage. And they didn't want to man up on these bigger receivers. We had Kenai Walker and Desmond that couldn't run. So they asked them, hey, you need to play deep. Just get deep. Be deeper than the deepest. Don't get beat deep. And they still got beat deep.
Right.
And so I think what I'm hoping to see is when we get Dolby and Gentry or Guillory. Really, I like when we watched film with JY on last week. That dude is like you mentioned, he's a dog. I think you can get him in the face of some of these receivers.
Yeah.
I think I would see a tendency to drop down a little bit of some of this drop back zone stuff and actually run some more man coverage and really pick your spots. I also felt like going into some of the quarters checks on some of these 3x1 sets, these unbalanced sets. Tulane did it to us. Lane Kiffin did it to us. Sark does it to everybody. They throw receivers on the opposite side, all on one side. They isolate a guy. If you're going to run zone out there, try to run a natural zone because you don't want to get beat by him. You're pulling a safety. You're pulling a safety away from that field side with all the receivers, and then you got zone over there. You get overloaded. If you run a bunch of drop zone, you're going to get overloaded. And I think you're going to start to see with better pure man coverage players, you're going to see that tendency kind of come down running somewhere zone and start to run a little bit more man because you're going to run more confident to run your cat defense. And it's really hard to screw up a cat defense. You've got that cat. I got this cat. Let's go.
Right.
So I think you're going to see the tendencies kind of come down a little bit because there'll be more confidence in that corner room to run some more man.
I'm looking forward to that because that's more, that resembles what was happening at Clemson. And I saw that, I went to many of those games and that's exactly Brent Venables with a shutdown corner or, a very good corner is a different animal than Brent Venables with no corners. So
he had some great corner. I mean, Mackenzie Alexander's one, AJ Terrell. He had like I think I counted 4 corners drafted in the first and second round while he was there at Clemson, and here at OU he hasn't had any in the top 3 or 4. I mean, I think the last pick OU's had at corner was Jameel Fleming in the 3rd round. And then I think Trey Brown was a 4th round pick to Seattle. So traditionally, we have not really been a great corner program. Yeah. And that's one of the things where, everyone talks about the defensive line and Brent Venables, but I was actually expecting some of the corner play to come back in 4 years. And I think this has got to be the year he puts it together. Him and Jay putting it together. You mentioned all the talent in the room. This is a great year to start to see a corner like a Gentry or a Dolby, if he's out there in corner, to really push for his name to be called in the day 2 pick. That second, 3rd round would be fantastic. That would be fantastic to see for a Sooners cornerback room to get a day 2 pick. So
and all these guys we're talking about, we're talking about Gentry and Dolby and Bowen, and the most talented guy, the physically most talented guy is Jacoby Johnson, and we saw, last year he's just not there yet. I've heard he's made a jump, but you hear that all the time. So that's, if we're going to get in, talking to predictions at some point, that's my biggest concern about OU this year, flat out, is the secondary, the corner room. And I think that could be the Achilles heel, or it could be a strength. We don't know. We just don't know,
Right.
because you don't know who's going to be playing. You don't know if they've made jumps, and you don't know the health. So that's the biggest question for me on the entire team, is the corner room. And it also has probably the room with this, second highest ceiling on the entire team behind the defensive line. So
Yeah, that's you putting all in perspective. The front seven and the talented quarterback room. You should be fielding a really, really, really good defense. Like really,
Yeah.
I hate the
Yeah.
word elite, but like
Yeah.
really good. Should
Yeah.
be really good. With the amount of seniors are over there, there's like 9 or so in the 2 deep that could get drafted or so. Like isn't there? There's like
yeah.
I think there's at least 8. If you include Kip, there's like at least 8 guys that are going to be looking to go into the draft next year. That on a Venables defense should be really, really good. Should be nothing short of like really damn good.
I think at all at not at all times, but at some point, there are going to be 11 defenders on the field, all who will be drafted.
That's
Wow.
Yeah. I mean,
that's hard to say for any team on any given year.
Yeah.
So
yeah, there's that kind of talent. And I don't know if they'll be drafted in the first round, 7th round, but there are 11 projected starters there that can be drafted. And here we go, right? You have a little bit of offense, and you're really cooking with bacon grease. So we'll see. I mean, we'll see, because you could say, like you Rob, you were talking about it. I mean, you can go too deep on some positions that are, have a chance to be drafted defensively.
Yeah.
That's pretty sick.
Yeah. I intentionally brought up that cornerback room because I'm in the same boat you are. That's, as far as question marks go for the season, that's the one that keeps surfacing to me. And man, if you could tell us all that we're going to have great health from Gentry and Dolby, and Bowen for that matter, to start the season and beyond, we may change our tune a little bit, but we just don't know. There's just question marks there. A lot of question marks too. Not so.
Like at Illinois State, I think you're going to see Gentry and Devin Jordan start. Now, who would have picked Devin Jordan out of all those names? But they're that deep and that athletic. Every one of those players could start at some point. And then we're not even talking about Tristan Haynes, the true freshman who is just absolutely a dynamo.
Yeah.
So there is so much talent there. So much. Yeah. But yet again, because of what we've lived through, I won't even say the last 3 years, last 9 years, who's going to step up and be that guy?
Yeah. So we can say what we want, but we can get into Brent's, weaknesses here in a little bit. But this roster makeover in the last 3 years is finally come to fruition. It's been something else to watch. It's just been kind of a slow, steady, go improve this unit, and here we are. We'll not mention the word tight end, but all the other groups, you've upgraded, substantially, across the board, and it's just been something to watch, and hopefully it comes to fruition for sure.
Yeah, I think offensively, since it's been such a roller coaster, we'll call it, from Levy to Luttrell and having JJF and it's been a roller coaster, and I think I've made myself clear. It's been a disaster in some areas, but you still have the core. You still have you still have a very talented offensive line room. You still have a very talented running back room. You had an entirely new wide receiver room come in this year. And there's good talent in there. It's not as high end as it was on paper last year. But again, best ability is what? Availability. They weren't available. So you have a lot of talent there, especially top end, and especially when you're only playing 3 or 4 guys in crunch time. So you have plenty of good there. Yeah, we won't mention the tight end spot. But it is. And defensive, the turnover is night and day. Offensively, they're still behind where they were under the previous regime in Norman. Obviously, you're going to be that. But when you start picking up John Mateer, when you start having Bo Bentley commit to you, there's still that, OU is known for being quarterback you, and that's where it starts on offense. And if you don't have a stud quarterback, you don't have anything. And, in terms of the national picture, right? You can win a lot of games, but we've seen it with the guy out west. When he doesn't have a Heisman Trophy, guy that can.
You censored that, Charlie. It's
yes.
normally TBOW. You stuck a G in there.
I won't use his name, but you see what having a mortal at quarterback even does to him, and it's not pretty. And this year again, I don't think it's going to be pretty for them. So it's as long as you got that on offense, and when you start, Bo Bentley was a massive commit for Oklahoma. Just huge. Massive. You beat out LSU, you beat out several other teams for him, and what that's saying is, he's a top 50 quarterback, wherever they want to rank him, whatever. He's an elite high school quarterback.
Yes.
So when you have that sign, that signage that you can hang and say, we're still getting these guys, they're still coming, and you took him over a guy who was a hot flavor the year before. Don't forget, Jaden O'Neal was the talk of everywhere until he wasn't. And right. And that's really what happens. You look at the guy they just got, Tank Carrington. Tank was the talk of everybody when he was a freshman and a sophomore. He's fallen down the list of priorities for a lot of teams. And that's kind of Jaden O'Neal. Now, Jaden O'Neal might go on to FSU, have a great career. Tank Carrington might come into OU and be Grayson Halton version 2. And you hope for that. But when you're signing, when you're attracting John Mateer, the hottest quarterback on the market, I don't want to hear anything about the guy that went to Miami. That's nonsense that they're playing that guy up. John Mateer was the guy. He chose Oklahoma, right? Bo Bentley is one of the guys in this class. He chose Oklahoma. So that's what I hold on to. And that's why I say when people get down on the recruiting, it doesn't take long. And it doesn't, you can turn around in, a season, whether it's the portal, whether it's high school recruiting, as long as you're getting the fundamental parts, which OU has, they'll be fine in that regard.
Yeah. And hopefully some of those guys, that we mentioned earlier, they'll be good flip bait come October, November.
Sure.
If we're sitting, I don't know, let's just say 7-1 going into November, I think a lot of people will take notice going into that brutal November month
they
down
sure
the stretch.
Be.
So
yeah.
Jay White said last week that he was like, wouldn't it be special if we go into that Missouri game undefeated? And I'm like, yeah, beyond all of our expectations, that would definitely be special, to say the least.
What week is Missouri? Okay, it's week 11.
Yep.
Or whatever week it is on this.
It's right before game. LSU, I believe.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that schedule. I mean, I think it sets up pretty good. I mean, for the amount of teams that you're the top 6 that are the teams that you have to play, I like the idea of starting fast and finish strong at home. I think it would have been rough sauce if we were finishing 2 road games at the end of the season with that schedule.
Yeah.
Getting a Michigan, that's a tough draw for your non-con, but you could still finish, start strong, get your 4 wins, go to Texas, and then after Texas, 4 or 5 wins, but Texas and to Alabama, that is a heck of a stretch, but you could at least come back home, beat up on Missouri, get that revenge win. And then if all else, you're looking at like a season prediction, that LSU game, are we 8-2 Or I'm sorry, are we 8-3 or are we 9-2? Because we certainly are not 7-4, because that would be a disastrous season. And that's kind of where I start when I'm trying to build out I still haven't figured out my prediction yet. But where do you land on that LSU game? Are you thinking we're 9-2, 10-1, 8-3, 7-4? God, I hope it's not 7-4. That would not be cool. But
No, overall, I'll start at the end. When I look through the schedule, I'm looking through it right now. I can go through every game and say why OU will win. I have a lot harder time going through every game here and saying this is why they'll lose until I get to LSU. So I can sit here and look at the schedule and say OU is going to win that game because until I get to LSU. And the only reason I say that is because of, again, what? The cornerback room, the secondary. Nussmeier, chewed him up pretty good. If he's taken a leap, I worry about that. And that's my biggest concern, because every other team and every other game I go back to, they have a new quarterback. They have a young quarterback. They have, they have so many pieces they're missing. I can do that. So I start with giving a loss to LSU, even though it's at home. That's not written in stone, but that's how I start, right? And that's just because you see the progression, and that's me, projecting the worst for the OU secondary. So that's the only game I can tell you guys right off the bat that I pencil in as an OU loss on the year.
Wow.
Yet,
yeah,
I won't move off 8-4.
You haven't moved off 8-4 for a while.
No,
I was hoping
8-4. Wow.
My goal at the beginning of this podcast was to bring you over to the 9-3 side by the end of the podcast and make you believe in 9-3, that extra win somehow.
My rationale got me to 11-1, fellas.
I heard that. I did hear that.
That's the God's honest truth, because there is still not a game on the schedule, no matter how many times I look at it and say, OU will lose because of this. We'll lose this game because of this. And I don't know what this is in every game, but I can tell you that, I'll look at every game and say, I can see why OU wins. I can't see why they're going to lose, but LSU. That's the only one I can see why they're going to lose. So, my 8-4 is rooted in nothing but the last 3 years.
Sure.
Because the talent, the way the schedule sets up, Rob, you brought that up. It sets up really, really well. I mean, you have this stretch, right? Like you said, you brought it up, Tennessee and Alabama on the road. You also have a bye week sandwiched in the middle. You also have a new quarterback at Alabama or at Tennessee, and a new quarterback at Alabama who I don't think is a good quarterback. The guy at Alabama. I don't think Ty Simpson is going to be a good quarterback. I could be really proven wrong, but I think OU has a better roster than Tennessee. I think they're a little bit roster-wise below Alabama, but I can still say, OU is going to get to Ty Simpson. Brent's going to eat him up. He's going to do exactly what he did last year to Milroe, and I can see that. And at Tennessee, again, it's going to be loud, but if OU gets out front, they're going to win. That's my process. I can do that for every game. I can't sit here and tell you that I think OU is going to lose to Michigan. I think OU should beat Michigan by 10 points.
Right.
Are they going to? I don't know.
Yeah. I do think it's important against Illinois State to get a bunch of guys reps if you possibly can. So the first snap's not against Michigan.
Yeah.
And I don't care who it is. Just name your position. Like, I don't want Eli Bowen that being his first snap of the year against Michigan or whoever. But I'm really hoping a lot of guys get some playing time, which they should, obviously, against Illinois State. But your point's well taken on LSU. Garrett Nussmeier and those offensive weapons are extremely dangerous. Rob's brought up the fact, that their offensive line is a little bit suspect. You bring Garrett into the Palace in late November with a lot at stake, my money's on Brent to be able to throw something at that guy and have him, excuse me, have
I
him
could
on
talk
his
myself
back.
into that.
But I know what you're saying. That they
Yeah.
are uber talented on the offensive side of the ball, and if they can find something on defense, yeah, LSU is going to be definitely very good.
Their defense isn't it's not any good really. I don't. It's nothing special. OU is going to face a lot tougher defenses, from Alabama, probably Tennessee, right?
Tennessee's got a solid secondary. They got a couple guys.
Obviously, Michigan. So they're not in top 3 defenses, but it's just the method of their attack. I can talk OU into winning that game without a problem, but that's the only one I can see why they lose.
Sure.
And I mean that. I don't see why OU loses to Texas this year. I mean, on the field, I don't.
Yeah, ironically, I look at Texas, and to me, their strength is their defense with Simmons and Hill and what Taff is that secondary guy's name?
Michael Taff. Yep.
Because I'm not sold on Manning just yet.
He's a new quarterback, so I can see
he is. He's going to have growing pains. I don't care who you are. I don't care what your last name is. I don't care what your uncles did.
So if their defense, right? If the Texas defense does a good job against OU, what's a good job? What's that going to be? 17 points this year? I totally believe Oklahoma's defense can do. I'm saying a good job against OU. 17 points. Yeah, not OU scoring 17 points. No. No, holding OU to 17. We'll say Texas does that. Yeah. I can see Brent's defense doing same or more against Arch. So that's and their beat up offensive line and young offensive line and an offensive line that I'll stop. But their offensive line coach, who he's got the players that Beanball would thrive in because they can afford him, right? And because they go out and buy him. He doesn't have the development chops that Beanball has. So but I can't get off of 8-4. And the 8, the 4 could come from a loss to a team like Ole Miss, right? Sure. Because they weren't on top of their game. And there's no, Iowa States of the old days or Kansas of the old days on the schedule. So that there's no built-in advantage there. So, if they get through Michigan, I would like to come back on and I'll revise my prediction because Michigan is Michigan and 50, Auburn.
50s.
Yeah. Michigan and Auburn, that's going to tell the story for me. Because if you lose those 2 games, I don't care what your mindset is. It's going to be tough on that back 6. So it's going to be a rough year. If they win those 2 games and you walk into the Cotton Bowl, 5-0, and you're feeling good about yourself, because I think Texas is walking in with a loss. So it's all about the mindset at that point. And man, if they beat Michigan and they look good doing it, I'll have a totally different outlook.
Yeah, so, you and me both. I mean, that's definitely one I'm eager to watch and see how far we've came since last year. You're right. Well, I mean, us and all the other Sooner Nation, we've got some PTSD from the last 3 years. So it's not easy for us to get to 9 wins as a prediction. So trust me, I want to say the same thing you do. I want to say 8-4. That's where I was stuck on at the end of last year, but I just feel like there's been enough. I feel like Brent has ate a little bit of humble pie the last couple of years, so to speak, and made the necessary changes that he's needed to do. And then this offense coming in should do maybe not a complete 180, but damn near it. And if we do that, then gosh, if we would have had an offense last year, we're sitting on that 8-4 mark pretty easily. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Well, you make a really, really good point there, Brad, with talking about Brent, and I don't know if it's necessarily eating the humble pie that I would go on. It's his openness to doing something different That
Right.
is something neither one of the last two coaches in OU did. It was Bob Stoops was my way, and I'm sticking with what I do and how I do it. And then Lincoln came in, and he couldn't make a change, and it almost cost him $100,000 or $100 million out in USC because he still didn't get rid of the guys he needed to get rid of or make the changes he needed to make. Brent, I give him all the credit in the world. He is open to the people that he actually seeks advice from. He's open to people that say this is how I would do it, and he's receptive to that. And he doesn't make a decision based on that, but he's open to those decisions, and that's I love that about Brent. I think he's he actually does take the advice that he's seeking and incorporates it, whereas other people will go and have talks and get advice and then just turtle shell up and say, no, we're doing it my way. And that's the way we're doing it.
Right.
So I give Brent all the credit for that, and I hope this time it translates. I hope he hit on what he needed to do. I think he did. Kevin Wilson's huge. I think.
Yep.
That I think he's going to be Brent's voice for in games. Arbuckle, from all accounts, he did exactly what I had hoped he had done. And again, this is just me watching from a couch far, far away from him. But, I was hoping that Brent would take his nose out of the offensive side of the ball and focus solely on defense and trust the guys that he hired. He hired him for a reason. He brought him in for a reason. You got to, do what you do best, and hopefully that pays off for him. Because, I said it before on one of your guys when you guys had me on. Nobody wants a coaching change. We don't want a coaching change. Everybody thinks, oh, you're anti-Brent. No, we're pro-OU. We're not anti-Brent. Personally, I have some great experiences. I love Brent Venables. He's a terrific man. But I am pro-OU. So, hopefully there's no conversations to need to be had at the end of the year. And hopefully, that 8-4 that I'm going to predict is actually a more realistic 10-2. A really super 11-1. A knock your socks off 12-0.
Right.
But
yeah. I feel like your 8-4 is the floor.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's where we're starting, so be it.
Yeah.
And then we could just go up from there. So yeah, I hope you're right. I hope it just can easily turn into a 10-2 or 9-3 or what have you. Just a playoff run would be fantastic.
If you're in the conversation before the LSU game, just in the conversation, that's good stuff, right? That's what you need to be. It's right where you need to be. Yep. So anyway it comes out, I hope that's the case. That's for sure. And the 8-4, like you said, should be the floor because on paper, again, when I go through it the second time, I can't pick more than 4 games that I can see OU losing.
Right.
And I just can't sit here and look and say, they're going to. I can't do it. I can't come up with the 4 games.
Yeah.
If somebody asks me, well, why are you saying 8-4? Who are the teams are going to lose to? I don't know. Right. I don't.
Yeah. No. And to your point, if they beat Michigan, then 4-4 is like 500 in conference. So at that point, you're kind of like, I don't think they're going to be a sub 500 team in the conference. So, it just doesn't on paper look like it could happen. But, Rob, I've been trying to make me and you do a lot of the talking today, Charlie. Rob's under the weather, man. Got a head cold, but he's like a trooper, man. He's sticking in there. So you got to
exit the stage a couple times.
That's okay. That's okay. I appreciate you guys having me on. This is really good, and I'm really excited for your tailgate. I want to hear about how the Illinois State goes out. So
for sure.
Yeah, we're excited for that. We're happy to be a small part of your project here. I think that's great.
We appreciate the help, man. We're trying to build a good party, and there's been a lot of brainiacs out there that over the years have always said we need to do a tailgate. We need to do a tailgate, and I was like, man, I'm going to do it. It'll just be me and a grill somewhere. We will just meet up. We'll have. Actually, I got one right here. Got a koozie here. Come swing by, get a TFB koozie, and
Champion
hang
Standard
out.
koozie. More importantly,
Yeah,
this is your gig. Yeah.
Champion Standard on the back there.
That's
Come by,
right.
have a brew. Bring a chair. We'll have a TV. We'll just talk ball and get excited for the game and for the year. That'd be fun.
Maybe
We're over
Zach.
there.
Maybe Zach will show up. Zach Givens with his charts,
Yeah.
his depth charts. We'll
Yes.
just go. You guys just go through them.
Yeah, there you go.
He can bring like a board that has magnets, and he can just move his depth chart around during the game.
He totally needs that.
He would do it too, wouldn't he?
I like that
with the names and everything.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That'd be cool.
All right.
That's fun.
We got to have that if Zach's coming. We'll just
like
surprise him with it. It's like, all right, Zach, here's your depth chart. You just gotta.
He would be in heaven.
Yeah. No, I good show. I never like keeping you too much on Sundays, Charlie. I know it's kind of your day off to try to decompress, but I really
appreciate it and
appreciate
you guys always having me on. It's a good thing for me, and I appreciate you guys, what you do, and anything I can do to just jump in for you and fill a little time. I'd love to. So
yeah, anybody out there looking for a community to join, and go find the Football Brainiacs. You can check out the free edition, but I highly suggest the donor side and just up-to-date information, legitimate information, none of this clickbait stuff that you see at other sites. So Charlie and the gang out there do a great job.
I appreciate you saying that, and you guys are representatives of our community as well. So that's a big thing.
Yep, for sure.
All right, fellas.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. We
stuff.
will let you get to chopping some wood. I saw you post that you got some wood you need to get all sliced up. So thanks again, and we'll make this if not a monthly affair, if not more often. Right after Michigan, like you said, let's come back on and
I'm booking Michigan. I'm writing that down. So
Yep.
All right, guys. Take care.
Take care. You too. Bye bye.
Bye.
Yeah, and Rob, you called me out. I see on the chat. I just now saw it. I forgot to mention the whole download, like, subscribe. So here I am, an hour into the show again, late as always. Please subscribe. One of these days, I'm gonna get just a sticky note and like stick it over your face on my screen, and that way I'll make sure and remember. But I just get excited when we have guests and just get eager to bring them on and kind of lose my train of thought. So,
no, you're good. You're good. We're gonna have to pound it through the season, though. We've got a lot of viewers that watch but don't subscribe.
Yeah,
and recurring viewers that watch and don't subscribe.
Yeah,
we got it.
Yep. So Rob's calling y'all out. You heard it first. No, hey man, I think you need to go hydrate and try to shake this head cold, because that's no good. And like you said, school's starting up, and the kids bring all the germs home all of a sudden, man. It's something else. Yeah,
it's wild. It was 3 days of school, and we all got sick. I'm like,
all three of you, huh?
Yeah, for sure.
Wow. Well, hey everybody, thanks for tuning in today. We are again 13 days away, so we'll have one more preseason podcast next week, and then it's game on, literally game on and podcast on. We're going to have our hair on fire, probably be doing a couple of days a week, and who knows what else. You may see some little short posts here and there, but we're looking forward to it. I know you guys are too. So take care, everybody, and we will see you next week. Boomer.